It's Wednesday, July 17th, and I'm down at the Chaffee County, Fremont County line, 3 miles downstream of Salida in Upper Bighorn Sheep Canyon. Arkansas River is still cranking along at a flow that's higher than normal for this date, about 2,600 cubic feet per second, but it is definitely declining in flow, and fishing is improving with each day. One thing that's important to understand about the Arkansas River at this time of year is that fast, deep water moving through the middle of the channel is really kind of irrelevant to the fishing experience. What we are focused on instead are the narrow strips of slower transitional water that you find right along the shoreline. I like to think of the river as two small streams this time of year, the right bank and the left bank. And if you look across the river here, you can see that fairly well. There's a seam line over there, maybe 3 or 4 feet off the bank, and between that seam line and the shoreline is a slower current velocity, good structure, great places for brown trout in particular to hold. Wade fishing, as we call it, or fishing on foot at this time of year, is a really different game than it is at the low water periods in spring and fall. We tend to stay up on the shoreline, out of the river, and just utilize short casts directly upstream, right along the river's edge, where many brown trout are holding. It's kind of a tough environment for them in terms of food availability, and so they are easily susceptible to large dry flies like stimulator type patterns, hopper type patterns, chubby Chernobyls and so forth, and will often drop a pretty good sized beadhead nymph on a fairly short drop below that. If you're fishing from a boat, we're again focusing on the same water, so we're keeping that boat maybe 15-20 feet off the shoreline and just casting into that slow water right on the edge, throwing a quick upstream mend on there to maintain a good smooth drift, natural drift, and then picking up as soon as you start to drag and leave that slower water. That works for dry dropper rigs, works for streamer rigs, and our float trips have been doing exceptionally well this week. Our wade trips also doing well, although we have the luxury with those of moving upstream and putting more emphasis on the lower flow areas up in Granite, above Buena Vista, and then clear up into the Hayden Meadows Reach there above where Twin Lakes empties into the Arkansas River. We do have caddis hatching and some pale morning duns, some golden stones around, a lot of hoppers, plenty of good food, but the most important element right now is focusing on the right water. Many of the biggest fish are in the most obvious places along the shoreline right now because their emphasis is on getting calories over protecting themselves from predation. And so we are, again, just enjoying some phenomenal fishing. It'll get easier as the water drops, but the fish will also slowly become better fed, more vulnerable, and maybe start to feel pressure as more and more people return to the Arkansas River. So if you're able to get down here over the next several days or the next several weeks, strongly encourage you to do so. This is some of the very best fly fishing on the Arkansas River of the year.